Welcome to Hot Rod Garage. This time we've got new tech for old Chevys and new ones. We're going to be putting a brand new fuel system from Aeromotive into my 55 Bel Air, and this is a blower kit from SLP for that 2010 Camaro. And it's going to take it from 420 horsepower all the way to 575 ponies. Right now, here's a quick tip from Lincoln Tech.
Hi, I'm Corey Donaldson, an instructor here at Lincoln Tech. Today we're going to talk to you about how to determine whether a car's been refinished or repaired. The first thing I want to look at when I'm determining whether a car's been repaired or repainted is the difference in color mismatch between adjacent panels. Although the color may match perfectly, you'll see a very definitive hard edge inside that jamb that tells you that the vehicle's been repainted before. Once the tape's removed, it leaves a very distinctive edge. You can feel it with your finger. Another great way to tell if a car has been in an accident and been repaired before is to look for a misalignment in body panels. Sometimes when they've been hit, they've been repaired, the panels aren't going to line up correctly. One of the biggest giveaways that the car's been refinished before is mismanagement of overspray. Take a look underneath the vehicle. If a car hasn't been masked off correctly, you could find a lot of telltale signs, like the leaf springs that are painted green here, or the inner fender wells that have got a green paint on it as well.
Lincoln Tech can teach you how to have a career working with cars. See lincolnedu.com.
Welcome to the second Roadkill Project Car update. This time around, we're working on my 55 Chevy. Now, if you're fans of the Roadkill show, then you probably recognize this car. This was nothing more than a body and a VIN number that we drug all the way up to Oregon to Jim Meyer Racing and slid one of his brand new gasser chassis underneath. Basically, we've got a roller here. It needs one of everything. So today, we're gonna drop an Aeromotive Stealth fuel tank in the back of this thing and a whole lot of Earl's plumbing to get fuel from there to here. Let's go. There it is, brand new fuel tank. It's powder coated, it's not gonna rust. It's a stock style unit, so it's gonna bolt right into my car with no mods. Best of all, I don't have to weld a sump into this deal. Aeromotive's already put a baffling system, a fuel pump in there that'll support up to 1,000 horsepower. Really all I've got to do is plumb 3 lines, 4 wires, and this thing's ready to go in the car. Your stock tank has got pickup tubes that are too small to really support any kind of horsepower, which is why this is a pretty cool deal. I am just going to thread on some Dash 8 line to the return, to the feed, and then a vent line, and that's all the plumbing we're going to have to do on this end of the fuel system. Aeromotive was kind enough to provide a relay to turn on the fuel pump and all the connections you need to hook things up. But I'm going to use some of my own here and some shrink tube to protect the connection and keep any moisture out down the road because I plan to drive this car, even when it rains. All right. Couple more zip ties here to secure the wires. And this bad boy is ready to go in my car.
It's another Duplicolor Minute, but this time I actually had to go buy this thing to save my bacon. See, this is our brand new 2012 F350 Super Duty, and we use this truck off camera when we want to give the illusion of being somewhat socially acceptable and reliable, but then they loan it out to guys like me and we destroy the thing. I'm gonna fix that with this Duplicolor Scratch Fix, all in one kit. Thoroughly wipe down the surface with a clean, lint-free cloth. Handled t-shirt. Rub it down with isopropyl alcohol. We're gonna prep it first with this abrasive tip so that you don't need to buy any sandpaper. Ugh, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard sound. The next step is gonna be to put on the white color. And by the way, this is a perfect factory color match. When you go into the parts store, you have to bring your paint code for your vehicle and look it up. It's right there on the label. So this is Ford Oxford White, which should be exactly what the factory color is. I can go with the paint pen at the tip of this that lets me have a really controlled flow, or I can go all out with the brush. After you put on a coat, you have to let it dry for 30 minutes, which by the magic of TV, we will make seem like roughly 1 second. See, we're back. Now I'm gonna go to the final step, which is the clear coat. You wanna paint it all in one direction. It works pretty good. It's not completely flawless, but it no longer looks like somebody went at the back of the truck with a steak knife either. And here's one last tip. If you're painting your older hot rod, consider using a new OE paint, because then you can always touch it up with Duplicolor.
All right, tank is in. We're now ready to start plumbing our way to the front of the car. Now, every fuel system needs a filter. Ours is no different. It is fuel injected though, so it needs a really fine element to keep the dirt out of the injectors. This Aeromotive filter's got a 10 micron element built into it. I'm gonna mount it to the frame rail up here. I'm also gonna run our fuel lines to the front of the car. That's gonna involve a whole lot of drilling and tapping, which is gonna eat up a bunch of time. So while I'm doing that, why don't you guys rock out with Weird Jeff and the Hot Rod Garage Band. Hit it. Most of our fuel system will be plumbed out of this 1/2-inch stainless steel hardline. The rest of it though, will be out of this soft braided line from Earl's. First, wrap tape around the end of it, cut it off with a death wheel to the right length, put the collet on there, lube the threads, then you'll shove the fitting into the collet, start threading it by hand, thread that deal into there, and that is what it should look like when you're all done. It's time to hardline the fuel system. Got our 1/2-inch stainless here, and a $20 conduit bender that we got at the local hardware store, because I can't think of a better, easier, and cheaper way to put a couple of bends in the steel to get around the cross members in our chassis. Check it out. It's not mandrel bent, but it didn't kink it either. That's all that matters. Well, our fuel system install is almost done. We've run soft line from the tank to the frame rail, 1/2-inch hard line all the way up to the firewall. We terminated that with compression fittings, split it with a Y block, and now we've got 2 -6 soft lines feeding the front side of our rails going to our injectors. That leads to the back end of the rails, which split again and go right into our fuel pressure regulator. Fuel pressure regulator bypasses the excess fuel, sends it all the way back to the tank, keeping everything cool and fuel pressure exactly where we want it. This piece of -6 line represents the end of our journey here. This is going to connect the fuel rail to our Aeromotive regulator, and then all that's left is to wire up a relay to turn on the fuel pump. And with that, we'll have a fuel system that not only will feed this Hillborn EFI system with an engine that makes 700 horsepower, but if we add nitrous to this thing and bump it up to 1,000, we're good to go. We have plenty of room for that. And the best part about this whole deal is that we didn't fabricate anything. The tank bolted in place. All we did was drill and tap some holes in the chassis, little wiring, little plumbing. We're done. It's just that easy.
So this is Hot Rod Garage, and pretty much everybody is asking, is this the end of Roadkill? Yes, we're done with that. No?
Really?
No,
tells
it's
me
not
anything.
the end
Oh
of
my God,
Roadkill.
dude. Nobody tells me
No, we're
shit.
still doing it. This is just a extra show that we're doing every single month. You will still get Roadkill on the MotorTrend channel every month until we're tired of it.
Nobody watches Roadkill. Why do we keep doing it?
You didn't know that your mom could hit refresh 3 million times, did you? At the end of the last episode, during the credits, you saw us zipping around the shop in these little things, cutting donuts, wrecking the floor. What are those things called?
I think they're made by the company that makes those Razor scooters.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what they're called, but they're awesome.
I heard them called Crazy Carts. I don't know if that's a brand name or a sort of a generic thing.
You won't see them again because we got into a lot of trouble for ruining the shop floor with those tires.
We did, and I nearly busted all my teeth out. You can see there's one scene where I'm wearing the GoPro and I hit that concrete pole over there.
You can't drive any of my cars.
Yeah, I hurt myself enough on the show as it is. Oh, people have been asking on the last episode when we did the GearStar trans swap, they show you putting the O2 sensor in the exhaust, and people are flipping out, going, why do you need an O2 sensor? Is it got EFI? No, it doesn't.
No, it's actually carbureted, but it has a fast wideband O2 sensor in it, which I've been using to tune the carburetor as I drive the car around.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't realize that. The little fast doohickey or Holley makes one, Innovate makes one, Autometer has them. You read the O2 sensor, it gives you your air-fuel ratio, and it really helps carb tuning. So
yeah, and it does it in real time. I mean, you can read spark plugs, you know, at wide open throttle when you're drag racing. That's great, but when you're just cruising down the road and the thing's running rich or lean, it's hard to tell. You know, it sucks just to pull over and yank a spark plug out, but you look at the display in real time, tells you what it's running at, and you can adjust.
Somebody needs to make a tool that gives you, for carb tuning, O2, throttle position, and a vacuum gauge, all together with a readout. I've given this suggestion both to Fast and to Holley, and they surprisingly have not jumped on it. But if you had those 3 bits of information, you can become an expert carb tuner.
See, why sell you one box with 3 things when you could make them pay for 3 boxes?
Because if they had any of them that would data log, that would be good.
Some of them data log.
Yeah, the fast one data logs,
yeah.
but there's no smoothing of the curve, so it just gives you the numbers really fast.
Right.
Do what I want, aftermarket. That's the lesson here.
I say keep on keeping on, because you're getting rich selling me 3 things to buy instead of just 1. You're smarter than I am.
Are we planning on working on the Rotson on Hot Rod Garage? That's the Roadkill car that's a 240Z that we threw a Chevy 4.3 liter V6 with a Ford Power Stroke diesel turbo, and we went and raced the thing at a Good Guy show.
I'd really like to. We have a cage for it. I'd like to put the cage in it, and I'd like to go do a standing mile event with it. Because what we learned at the autocross was, by the time that turbo spools, you're ready to brake for the next turn. So it's not great on the autocross, but we may have allegedly exceeded the speed limit on the freeway by a lot.
Allegedly.
And there's a lot left in that car.
It's true.
In a wide open event. So, I don't know, Mojave Mile.
Mojave Mile.
Yeah.
What power did that make at the wheel?
On pump gas, it made 340 to the tire, I think.
340 to the tire. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we will work on it. There's a lot of Roadkill cars that'll end up on Hot Rod Garage because we have a segment in every single episode called the Roadkill Project Car Update. So yeah, you'll see a lot of that garbage.
Why is the transmission so expensive in the Elko? Billet converter, carbon fiber bands. I mean, the honest to God truth about that transmission is there is not a single used or rebuilt part in it. They replace everything in those things, including the wiring. So
the thing about GearStar also is they know us. And when you call and go, yeah, we've got 420 horsepower, they go, no.
That's temporary.
That's temporary. And so we could have gotten the way cheaper transmission from them for that swap that we did in episode 1, but they did that because they know eventually that thing's gonna have either a turbo or a big block or nitrous or something.
Yeah, my wife wants all of that.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But no paint job.
Well, yeah, no, she doesn't want a paint job. Not really. She says it, but I don't think she really wants it.
You know, women talk in code that way. Paint job generally means more horsepower.
Yeah, or shoes.
Right.
You know? So what's the difference between Hot Rod Garage and Roadkill? Roadkill is our take on if somebody came to you and said, here's a few $1,000, here's 3 days off of work, go have fun with a car. That's Roadkill. We're gonna go on an adventure. We're gonna do things people tell us they shouldn't do. We're gonna challenge ourselves. That's Roadkill.
Hurt ourselves.
Yeah. Hot Rod Garage is, you know, working on cars. In a garage, having fun, that's all it is. There's no road trip. Honest to God, a lot of the parts that we're using were provided by sponsors that pay the bills to put this show on. And
there's a lot of demand for shows like this. Look at them. They're all over the cable networks, and they're all, to my eye, pretty stale. So Hot Rod Garage is us trying to have more fun with sort of the more predictable show format and getting paid to do it, honestly.
Well, and we're not gonna reprint the instruction manual. So all those parts where we speed up the footage and play, you know, punk music is because I'm not gonna show you how tab A goes in part B. If you buy this, you're gonna go home and you're gonna read the instruction manual. So besides, the episode would be 3 days long because that's how long it takes us to put in a transmission.
Yeah, I mean, we'll show you the detail you need to know. I think one thing we did learn from the first episode is that you guys want more of the actual nitty-gritty, so we can do that.
Yeah.
Yep, this is us in a lot of cases, not with the Roadkill cars, but with the rest of the segments, trying to do stuff not in the roadkill fashion. You see us hack stuff and zip tie it together and booger weld it all the time. On Garage...
Because we only got 3 days
right.
to do it.
And on Garage, we only have 3 days, but we're
only doing one thing.
Making an attempt to do it more like 2 regular guys would do it. We have pros come in every once in a while, teach us how to weld and things like that, but we're trying to do stuff right. At least I am. Are you?
It depends on
Give or
how much beer you bring and motivate me with. We've got a 2010 Camaro that's too slow for me and too slow for the chick that owns it. So we're gonna install this SLP Stage 5 Supercharger kit, which fits on 2010 to 2014 1LE and SS Camaros that have the V8. It'll run you $67.95, and it's a lot of money, it really is, but the kit is very complete. The hoses are all pre-cut, the wires are pre-terminated, you really don't have to hack up your car. Best of all though, if you've got an automatic, you're gonna have 550 horsepower at your disposal, and if you've got a manual transmission, you're gonna have 575 ponies. You can do the install yourself, but if you have an ASC certified technician from Chevrolet install the kit, this is actually warranted for 3 years or 36,000 miles, and the drivetrain in your Camaro carries the same warranty. The wiring harness plugs in, the hoses are all pre-cut. SLP says this can be done in about 8 to 10 hours. Unless you're us, then you just want to double that time because you're going to have to factor in the trip to the ER that's probably going to happen. The heart of the system is SLP's TVS 2300 Supercharger. The guts of this are made by Eaton, and it's a 4-lobe, twisted rotor design that's super efficient and is much quieter than the old Detroit root-style blowers that you're used to seeing. One of the cooler features of this blower are the high-flow inlet and outlet ports. They're very efficient at bringing air into the blower and squeezing it out into the heat exchanger that's built into the manifold. Now the intake is just as cool as the blower. All the mating surfaces are O-ringed just like a factory intake. The injectors are installed at the same angle as the stock ones, so they're firing right at the backside of the valve for maximum efficiency. And most importantly, there's a heat exchanger built into this. That is going to work in concert with this aluminum front mount intercooler. Cold air is going to pass through here, cool the water inside of it, which is going to cool the water inside of the heat exchanger. The heat exchanger is going to drop the air temp from the blower down to a level where you can actually run this system in this car on 91 octane crappy California gasoline without the engine detonating or pinging. You can't throw a bunch of air at an engine and expect it to make more power. You've got to have more fuel. SLP is taking care of that by speccing out a brand new high flow set of injectors and this awesome Diablo Sport touchscreen programmer. You're going to use this to drop in a custom tune for this thing that is perfect in any gear. This thing will not lag, this thing will not bog. You can put it in first gear on an on-ramp going straight up a hill in San Francisco, and this thing's not gonna lug and stall on you. That's how good the tune is. Everything you need to do the install is right here in the box, minus one hose you've gotta go to your Chevy dealer to pick up. The best part is, these are not parts you're gonna cringe about putting on your car. You're getting Gates belts and belt tensioner. You're getting awesome wiring that you don't have to cut up. It's already got weather pack connectors on it. The elbows are high flow, rotomolded plastic. The blower kit actually comes in 4 boxes, so there's a lot more than what you see right here, but it's not that intimidating. SLP says you can put this kit together in about 8 to 10 hours, and the only specialty tool you're gonna need is a little tool to disconnect the hard lines from the fuel system, and that you can pick up at your local auto parts store. There's not a lot of modifications to do, so we're gonna check out the car now and we'll show you just the small things you're gonna have to cut and move around in the engine compartment to make this thing happen.
This time on the Duplicolor Minute, it is custom wrap. This is the vinyl spray-on, peel-off coating that you can use for all kinds of stuff. I've always wanted to turn the Crusher Camaro into sort of a 70s street machine, so I've done this cheesy van-era sort of logo here, really poorly executed. And so I'm gonna spray through with this and see how I can make it look. And while that's drying, we're gonna run around and see what else this stuff will stick to, and more importantly, what it will or won't peel off of. The Rotson. You've seen it on Roadkill. You've been unimpressed by its paint job. I've always wondered if the vinyl wrap stuff will stick to rust and have it look okay, which it probably won't, and peel off. Likelihood of it coming off, minimal. I can make this car look a lot better. So here's the Rotson with its new racing stripe, and now I get to find out if the custom wrap is gonna come off of rusty crud, or if it's gonna take most of the car with it. Okay, well, I'm not gonna call this a complete fail, but I am gonna say you're gonna have a lot more work cut out for you if you wanna custom wrap your complete garbage vehicle as I just did. And finally, back at the crusher. Check it out. My lettering was ugly, so it was a nice experiment, but that's the cool thing about this coating is that you can spray it on, wrap it off, take chances, and then not have to go in public with your mistake. And that's it for this episode's Duplicolor Minute. Got a piece in my mouth.
Best part of the show right here. This is the segment where we show you stuff like that. Just pure billet machine sexiness, man. This is Brian Moreland from CP Carrillo, and he designs pistons like this for a living. So as I understand it, that's a billet and that's a forging. Visually, I can't tell the difference, so explain it to me.
Well, if you look closely, you should be able to tell the difference because this side over here, you can see all the tool marks. This one here basically was designed early on. There was a tool that was made. It was sent over to a forging house. It was hit on a press. It came in the building, and it was already predetermined on the bottom side.
So this one gets pressed into a shape that's close to the final product.
Yeah, and we have roughly 250 different shapes that are available to us, everything from very, very small bores to very, very large, and some with domes and some not. This one here started off as a cylinder of aluminum, and we had it was a free form process where I could just start with a blank slate and come up with anything I decided to do.
Okay, so that one very expensive, this one not so much.
Definitely. This is one of our sportsman lines, the Bullet line, so this is more cost efficient. This is custom from the very beginning to the very end.
Okay.
The majority of the stuff that we do is 2618 aluminum, and we do some 4032 stuff for street applications as well.
And if you're into NHRA drag racing and you're into naturally aspirated engines and all the technology that goes into them, then you've heard of Pro Stock. And for comparison, Brian brought us a Pro Stock motorcycle piston and the car counterpart to that. And good God, man, that's a giant bore right there. How big is this?
This particular one is roughly 4.710. The range on that bore in that class goes from 4.680 to 4.730. Just depends on the combination of stroke and bore that the engine builder prefers.
And that's huge. I mean, if you've got, say, a 540 or 572-inch Chevy at home, you've got probably around a 4.5-inch bore. That's over 4.700. I mean, that's massive. So these guys, I'm assuming, are, in order to fit that into a 500-inch package, it's a very small stroke. They're moving the valve placement. All right, well, we've talked about the NHRA pistons, Pro Stock specifically, and now I want to know, what else did you bring here? What do we got up front here?
This particular piston is a NASCAR open spec piston. It's also a billet. They run such tight clearances between the cylinder head and the piston that they want it to touch evenly. They call it shadowing. So,
wait, are you talking about the top of the piston is touching the cylinder head?
Yes.
Now, why do they want it that tight?
They're looking for everything they can get. They're squeezing everything out of it they possibly can.
This is my favorite. Tell the folks at home what we have here.
This is for Mike Finnegan's 711 twin turbocharged Sonny Leonard Hemi Chevrolet.
That is a man motor.
Yeah.
I'm actually afraid of it. I've never even seen it yet. I've been gathering parts for this. I've never seen the thing. In fact, that's the first time I've seen this piston, so.
Yeah.
It was a good time to have you on the show.
It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting for sure. The safety margin's high in that one.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to go for a ride with me after?
Of course.
You're nuts. All right. Well, thank you for coming by, and thanks for bringing one of my 8 pistons. Are you going to hold the other 7 for ransom?
No, that's a spare. You can hold on to that and put
This is the
some
ashtray.
paper under it.
Cool, man. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming by.
All right.
We're out of here. Here's a rundown on a few of the things you're going to have to move around in your Camaro to fit this blower. Don't worry though, none of these things are permanent. You can't undo any of this should you trash your car and want to take the system to another Camaro. First off, the heater hoses, the inlet and the outlet, run along the passenger side
fuel rail here. If you've got a 2010 or 2011 Camaro, you're gonna have to replace those hoses with ones from a 2012 Camaro. You're also gonna have to unbolt the evap solenoid from the lower bolt hole on the passenger side cylinder head, and you're gonna have to bend the bracket a little bit and move it up to make room for your new Gates belt tensioner. You're gonna be reusing the throttle body, so you're gonna unbolt that, save the gasket from your old intake manifold, and that's gonna bolt right onto the new front end of the blower. So we've got a positive displacement blower cramming more air into the engine. We've got bigger injectors capable of feeding it more fuel, but the computer is not gonna know what to do if it doesn't know the engine's under boost or in vacuum. So that's where this new 2-bar map sensor comes in that's bolted right here to the front of the new intake. If you've ever tried to suck through a straw that's got a kink in it, you know that's no good for flow. And that's why SLP provides this new clean air tube. It's larger diameter than a stock piece, and it's going to connect to either the factory airbox, or you can always buy SLP's Blackwing airbox, which is a high flow filter and a logo that looks just like my mustache. And that's a hell of a good reason to buy it, right? The last couple of things I'm going to show you will be the items that make super anal Camaro lovers cringe, because it's about putting holes in your favorite car. Over here, you've got the coolant pump for the intercooler, and bolting that to the frame rail requires relocating the AC lines just a little bit and drilling and tapping a hole to clamp them down. But worse than that, you've got to drill 2 3-inch holes here and here through the valance for the lines to connect the pump to the intercooler so that you can bolt this bad boy right in front of the radiator. Well, we've shown you what everything looks like. We've told you what it costs. Now we're gonna head to the drag strip to find out how this car runs with 575 horsepower under the hood. All right, this is my favorite part of the show right here. The install is done, and we are ready to track test our SLP blown Camaro here at Fontana Raceway. Come on, baby, let's go. All right, the whole shot wasn't great, and the tires shook in second, and I smell a little more clutch. Okay, all you Camaro guys, you buy the SLP kit, you probably should go get a new clutch for your car. This one's got about 38,000 miles on it, and it wasn't happy with all the burnouts with the drag radials.
So what does $6,700 worth of blower get you? Well, a whole bunch of power at the rear wheels and a clutch that is no longer happy. We barbecued this thing after 3 passes. It ran mid-12s. It'll beat the hell out of a stock Camaro, and it's got a warranty, but it does need to go back to our shop to have a little more work done if we're gonna drive it anymore. Well, there it is. Another episode of Hot Rod Garage presented by Lincoln Tech in the can.
And remember, this car from the opener of the show looked a whole lot different then, because during the whole filming of this episode of Hot Rod Garage, we have been working till like 3 in the morning every single night with a bunch of friends to get the Hemi 55 Chevy going. But that's not the next episode of Hot Rod Garage, it's the next Roadkill. Check it out, it's Roadkill episode 29, and you'll also see it in 30 if we can drive the thing all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. If nothing else, we'll see you next time on Hot Rod Garage.